It's pretty good.
It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
Hey, back at it again for another episode of Cats Talk Wednesday. Terry TB Brown back running, back logging times and distances and all that kind of stuff. Vinny Hardy here, coming to y'all from the BS3 Network. TB, hey man, how we doing today?
Doing good, man. It's the dog days. Well, it's not quite the dog days of summer, but we're getting there. So rocking and rolling.
I'm glad. I almost tweeted that out, but I was like, I don't think it is dog days yet either. Like you said, we're close, but people would have came at you and been like trying to correct you. It's technically it isn't the dog days until the equinox.
Last equinox. I was gonna. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Whatever, man. My old man rant is, social media is just a tool. I don't need the people like, okay, it's cool when you see someone have a misspelling, but don't be like, we all just, without an edit button, we all just, whatever. Did you mean, what I meant? Like, Come on, and look at the context.
There's
context clues. I used to quote tweeting to dunk on people like, oh, you're a journalist, but come on, man.
It ain't that serious.
and the misspellings, those are the tweets that start going. the ones you're like, oh, this is funny. And you're like, oh, no, wait a minute.
Trying to reel it back in, and it's too late.
Oh, man. Yeah.
We got a loaded show, y'all. We got 3 great guests. Our guy JR the Bossman is back. Talk a little NBA draft, free agency, summer league. Derek Terry, as if one Terry isn't enough. We got some more Terry coming. We got Derek Terry coming, and he hasn't ever been on here, but y'all know he's crushing it when it comes to baseball. Staying on top of the portal, the roster movement, all the changes that's been going on. Talk some UK baseball with Derek. And at 7:45, we got a former Kentucky women's baller, Maci Morris. Everybody remembers Maci playing for Coach Mitchell. We had her dad on, fellow Harlan County, and Lewis Morris back a few years ago. So now we get Maci on this evening to talk some hoops, the new look, Kenny Brooks squad, and what she's doing now, all that kind of stuff. So y'all have fun. We got some fun conversations coming up. TB, you was asking me, I think, before I hit the record button. Y'all know we need to be sponsored by Simply, but Simply Spiked, because they got the new lime, and you got the peach. You got the what you got?
No, this is the lemonade. This is strawberry, but I got some others. Like I said, these go down nice and smooth. Whatever game that was, I went through a 12-pack myself and felt it the next day.
That's it. So we big Simply Spike fans, because for y'all that watch and listen on a regular basis, it was a few weeks ago we both was drinking them, didn't even realize it. And I was like, I almost said, I said, TB drinking a Simply Spike? And then so I found the lime. You showed me the lime and went out and found it. I think the blackberry is my favorite. The passion fruit is good.
Okay.
I got a sweet tooth anyway, so peach is gonna be my favorite because lemon and lime both gonna have a little tartness to them, even though they're both good. So I'm gonna rock with the peach first, but that blackberry, and then it's a cherry, regular limeade, and then passion fruit is the 4 in the lime. And I'm a fan of all of them. The lemon ones, the strawberry lemonade, like you got right now, you can't beat that. And then it's about time for me to rotate back to the peach. It's been a while since I had the peach, so I got to get that again. But yeah, it's just refreshing. It's summertime, and it's
it tastes like summertime. That's exactly it.
Absolutely. Just sent the email out. A guy making his 11th appearance on the program. Vacationing, not on that NBA grind right now, but here to drop some knowledge about the draft and some free agency and some summer league. And I don't put together a few of these apron questions, CBA questions, because he was the first one to kind of tell us what the players were getting themselves into with that CBA. So I got some questions for our guy, host of the Bossman Show, JR, the Bossman, is backstage, bringing him on right now. JR, what's going on, man?
TB, Vinny, what's up? And before you guys, I'm in my blue tonight, as you can see. I am in my Tennessee State Tigers, big blue Tigers, the real big blue.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you.
TB, how do you love the first apron, TB, with your Lakers, since he took a little bit less for the
man, as Vinny and I have talked about, I don't know what's going on out in LA. Like, I can't call it. It's one of them. I have no idea that every move that they have made, probably the last 2-3 seasons, I don't get.
They are definition of mid, aging and mid. Vinny's Rockets on the upspring, and your Lakers are on the downstream. Sorry to tell you that, TB.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, if your game plan was dependent on LeBron still being superhuman at age 40, that's not a game plan. Like, that's something, it's nice if it works out, but you can't hit your wagon to that. And that's what we've done.
Yeah,
it's okay.
A lot of belief in that tonal. That's what robbing them.
Okay. Well, we had an NBA draft too, guys.
Yeah, you got you a UT guy for a UK boy. Ain't that beautiful? You got chip for a UT brother now, TB.
We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I just don't know. I'm gonna still watch, but it's I don't know.
I hear you, TB. I feel for you, man. I do.
I guess the biggest moving and shaking free agency wise, Paul George going to Philly, Klay Thompson going to Dallas. As far as names, I guess those may be the leaders in the clubhouse. Philly seemed like the whole city was glad Tobias Harris was gone. They didn't care what else happened after that. Just
correct. Correct. Hey, my man got a great agent. His dad's a good agent. Detroit gave that man 2 years, $2 million. I wouldn't have gave him 2 years, $24 million. The way he been playing.
So now JB Bickerstaff is inheriting that and whatever.
Yeah, he'll be fired again in 3 or 4 years.
Hate that because he's a home. He's semi-home folk. His dad is from Benham. Bernie's right there with my aunt and uncle, and hate that. I hope, but that's a tough situation, man. Detroit is just tough. That's
man. And then you just gave Cade Cunningham 5 years, $224. He can get to $269 if he makes All NBA or Lord. It's a bad contract there too, man. Hamstrings your team in this new, what we call it, the apron world.
That's
he
right.
mentioned Klay Thompson. That's an apron thing. Paul George, an apron thing. This is a Brandon Ingram, an apron thing. Let's just go there right now. If you mentioned it on the background. Had there been no second apron, Clippers would have gave Paul George 4 years, $221, and been done with it. But the second apron and how it hamstrings you from building your roster out, yeah, you decide to play hardball with him, not give him more than Kawhi Leonard. And that Kawhi Leonard looks even more smarter now. Signing that deal, people thought, why he's taking 3 years, 150 less than his max. He need to guarantee himself some money. He has put out Team USA today with knee injury. It's the inflation of his knee. So the second apron is determining everyone's roster building decisions. And Vinny and CB, look here. Teams are not using their mid-level exceptions because it can be used for trades now, not just signings. So teams are holding on to their mid-level exception to use it in February, the deadline, if that so benefits their roster. So I could see some teams with room underneath the aprons being a salary dump where you can just trade the salary into the mid-level exception slot and dump salary that way, attached with a pick. So look for that February. Teams being salary dump grounds with their mid-level exceptions.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Who, in your opinion, is in the best shape when it comes to the apron and navigating it, and who's in the worst shape from, as far as organizations are concerned? They knew it was coming. Who has kind of got themselves in the best position, and who is really in trouble?
I'll go with two teams in the second apron. Boston is a team in the second apron who's already world beaters and world class. They have their roster, and they have 7 of their 8 first-round picks. If you're going to be in the apron, you have to have control of your first-round picks. Boston has a solid starting 5, 6 with Al Horford. They have Howes off the bench, Pritchard, and they have drafted this kid from Creighton. So Boston, as long as you have your first-round picks to get cheap talent with, when you're in the apron, you'll be okay. You have to max out Brown and Tatum. You got Holiday. You got White. You got Porzingis for 2 more years. So, but they will have their first-round pick in 2032 frozen. They stay in the apron 2 years in a row. But if you're winning championships, I don't care about 2032 right now. I'll let it be frozen and put it back at the first round. If I'm going to be good anyway with Tatum and Brown on my roster anyway, I'm going to be picking late anyway. So what's me dropping a few slots down? Now, on the other side, I'm going to go underneath the apron. OKC will be in the apron in 2 years. You have to max out Shea with a new Supermax contract. You have to max out Chet Holmgren and J. Williams. So and remember I told you last summer, the new CBA does not really want you to have 3 max guys. Mm-hmm. But OKC drafted so well, they're going to have 3 max guys. So which is why the Hartenstein contract is for 2 years guaranteed, team option on year 3, because that's when the extensions kick in for the apron. What's OKC have, Vinny and TB? They have all these first-round picks that are cheap talent. They can field a roster of cheap talent, even though they're in the second apron. And having that pick froze no matter because they have everybody else's picks. But a team who was screwed in the apron, Phoenix, they have no picks. So that's the team in the apron that's screwed. Phoenix, they have no picks. It's Beal, Durant, and Booker to the wheels fall off for the next 2 years. And then you have when they gone, no picks. So that's a team that's in apron, that's in bad shape. Milwaukee, bad shape. The Knicks could be in bad shape. I just feel like Mikal Bridges ain't worth 5 first-round picks in a pick swap. That's just me. He ain't a star. Yeah. I ain't giving that much up for a role player. Saying Rudy Gobert, Minnesota gave up 5 picks for him. Like Rudy Gobert, who can't play in the playoffs, you can't really play him? Really? So
he gets played off the court. That's the rite of spring.
So that's Vinny. That answer your question. That's an example of teams. 2 teams is good with the apron. A team is bad with the apron.
So yeah, it's just, and everybody had the same amount of time to get themselves together as best they could, and now, like you said, it's picks, and you know this was coming, and now it can get.
And let me give you an example, Vinny. I'm gonna give you a quick example of this, Vinny. So, say for instance that you want to make a trade, right? If you take back more money, you're capped at the first apron, which is 178-ish, right? If you take back less money, you're capped at the second apron, which is 188.9. So that's why the Knicks was trying to panic to find somebody to trade so they could take back less money to be capped at the second apron of 188.9 rather than 187.1 of the first apron. So now making trades is more difficult now, Vinny, because you have to decide who's going to take back less money, who's going to get capped to where, So if I'm getting hard cap, you can give me the extra pick. See what I'm saying? That's through that dynamics of trades now. Who is hard capped at the second apron or the first apron? And it's made trades more complicated. Fans don't understand it. Now I read the CBA 3 times, so I understand it. But fans are confused now, Benny and TB, because of all this new apron rules. They set numbskull hater C.J. McCollum and dumbass Grant Williams.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's how those two got
two
to be.
hating idiots.
I mean,
ingredients garbage.
It's unbelievable. Our number one fan, Michelle, says, evening, she is in Milwaukee part-time, and that's not new. She wanted to hear the Bucks being in
second apron, Michelle.
In trouble.
Second apron, Michelle. Second apron.
So could be some lean times coming up, around the corner for
hey,
Doc.
look,
and
in a year or two in Milwaukee, it could be bye-bye to Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez, and Giannis could say, I'm out of here too. Because they have gave up all their picks to try to make Giannis happy. Now it's time to pay the piper now.
Unbelievable. And man, like you said, that CBA stuff is just, I kind of hear it. Sometimes my ears kind of glaze over when I hear them terms. You done read the thing 3 times. So you coming in here, knowing it inside and out. And that's why we appreciate you. One of the reasons, because I'm not about to read it. And you've read it 3 times. And so you can, it, who's in trouble, how it works. And hey, man, that's why we bring you on to drop knowledge, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man, look, it's some of the most boring legalese ever, but it determines how you roster build. And so when you're trying to understand the roster building and how to do trades, and that's why when I hear these fake trades, I'm like, that don't work with these new rules here with the apron. It don't work that way. You have to really, it's more complicated and layered than it used to be. And this is what I also would say, TB and Vinny. Team like yours, Vinny, in Houston, team like OKC or Memphis or even Golden State, why are you penalized for homegrown talent and signing the contracts? There should have been a provision in here. This is a homegrown talent. It shouldn't count as much towards the tax and the apron.
Similar to the Larry Bird rule, right? You could sign your guy more than the other team. Is that right? Something
that's about bird rights is about you can go up above the cap to retain your players, which is a great rule.
Right.
But now with this apron garbage and nonsense and the luxury tax, why is Golden State penalized for Steph Curry being great, or Draymond Green being whatever he is, or Memphis with Morant, Bane, and Jackson, or OKC with Chet, J-Dub, Williams, Shea. Well, not Shea wasn't drafted by it, but Williams and Chet, they should not be count as much towards the tax and apron because they're homegrown. It should be like a homegrown exception or something like that, to not where you don't have to make hard decisions and break up your team.
Right. That you built yourself through the draft. Right. That makes sense.
When the CBA is trying to make you be about drafting players the right way, but then you can't keep them because of the second and first aprons.
When you going to be in the competition committee? When you going to be on there, man? When we going to see JR's name in the meetings with Adam Silver and all these agents?
Vinny and TB, when I speak, they get scared because I don't go with the company line. Look here, this last CBA, I sent some ideas through my friends in the NBA PA, right? And I know on good background that knucklehead McCollum shot them down. He's an idiot. And that idiot Grant Williams too.
I mean, I can't speak for you, TB, but the fact that Grant's even in that position when we saw him year in and year out at Tennessee, and the fact that he's He's the
vice president of the NBA.
How? I mean,
that's a good question, Vinny. I have no clue. Like, what were y'all thinking?
Yeah.
This ain't good for players. Vinny and TB, what I see y'all last summer? The middle class will get squeezed.
Mm-hmm.
If they what I said to y'all?
Yeah.
But people said last year, nah, you being too harsh, you've been too extreme. I saw what was coming. The apron is a reason not to spend money.
I mean, you said it on this show.
I can squeeze you now. I can hide behind the aprons, which is valid point to a degree. You know what I'm saying? I can hide behind this now and offer you less money. And also, too, bad agents out here. Gary Trent should have took 15 minutes from Toronto. What's Rich Paul thinking?
Oh, I saw that. I saw that one today.
What's Caleb Martin's agent thinking? Hey, CBA, new environment, aprons, bruh. You should have opted into Miami instead of off that number. Like, agents got to be smarter in this new CBA. They really do.
Are there any owners out there that aren't flinching or aren't scared? There's every single owner kind of backpedal. I mean, Ballmer throws money around, and we saw what happened with Paul George. Is every owner now on their heels where or there's some owners that don't care and I'm rich, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, or is every owner shook by the aprons?
Depends on your situation. Like OKC's gonna embrace it because they got 3 top flight guys to max out. They cannot do that. Boston is won a championship and gonna go for it. But Phoenix stupidly did it. But you thought Bradley Beal and Durant and Booker was gonna actually win something? Minnesota's gonna eventually have to get rid of Cat or somebody. They can't be in the apron all this time.
What's their ownership situation going to shake
still
up
in the air? A-Rod and them and trying to, get a loan to buy a team from somebody else. Like Denver, man. They lost KCP and Bruce Brown back-to-back years. But think about this, though, Vinny and TB. Am I going to give Jamal Murray 4 years, 209, and then do his new environment? What do I extend Aaron Gordon on? And see, in the old CBA, they maxed out Michael Porter Jr. He should have never been maxed out. He ain't a max player, but in the old CBA, they maxed him. And this is what I will say, that it should have been maybe a 2-year runaway into the new CBA, not 1. Give people 2 years to get that act in order, not 1. That's what I would have pushed for. The CBA is good to 2029. You should have let them do it, make it kick in 25, 26, and then you can see how it works, the system works, the new TV deals will be in. That's what I would have done. Because today, the TV deals are done. The cap will go up, which means the aprons will go up. But I would have let it kick in when the TV deals kick in. That would have been my suggestion, which was my suggestion, but it was shot down, of course, by the idiots that be in the NBAPA.
So, like you said, the TV, you put the tweet out, retweet 25-26. After NFL, weekly schedule: Monday Peacock, Tuesday NBC, Wednesday ESPN, Thursday Amazon, Friday ESPN and Amazon, and Saturday ESPN and Amazon, and Sunday NBC ESPN from Real GM. So, what y'all think about that?
Hey, with the way the Atlanta Hawks play, they'll be on Valley Sports South no matter what. They ain't gonna be on national TV.
And even when the Hawks make the playoffs, they're always on NBA TV.
Exactly. The Hawks will be on Valley, NBA TV, Fox Sports Southeast, wherever it's on.
And it's like I can't even look at where that channel is.
It ain't even on my sports tier anymore. They took it off. I ain't seen a Braves game all year because Valley is gone. because they
Yeah,
fighting,
Valley,
with Comcast and
What Turner South? What happened to Turner South, Benny? What happened to Turner South, man? Peachtree TV. Throw the Hawks there. They ain't gonna be on no Peacock, NBC, ESPN, or ABC. They'll be on the wherever local of the local. They'll be on that station.
unbelievable, man, unbelievable. And TNT Kink Challenge, they just out. It's done.
I mean, they can try to match, but they can't really do that. Maybe give them a fourth package if they try to sue you. TNT won't try to match Amazon probably. But how can you match something that wasn't even in place? So what are you matching?
Yeah. So
that's why I say lawyers will be involved.
No doubt. Man, you mentioned you had the Real Blue on, TSU. So what are you expecting from those Tigers in football and basketball this upcoming season? What are you expecting from your alma mater?
Man, look, I expect what were the Tennessee Titans always 8-8? I expect 65-5-6 in football. Look who the head coach is. Who the head coach is? We gonna come up 1 yard short probably. I think. I don't know.
How you gonna do Taj's husband like that?
He gonna be the head coach is, man. Come on, man. That's all I can tell you.
How you gonna do Mr. Taj like that, man? Come on, man.
Like that's all I'm saying about it. But basketball, Penny Collins is my friend. Hey, look, they won 18 so game less than OVC. OVC's a wide open league with no more Belmont and Murray State. So Penny Collins has a big year over there at Tennessee State. So I expect them to compete for an OVC championship in Evansville, Indiana at the Ford Center in March. So we'll look for Penny Collins to do that. He's my friend. Locke is a friend of mine on staff. Jordan Bone on staff, a friend of mine. Mr. Collins is his father. So a lot of friends over there on that basketball staff at Tennessee State University playing in the Gentry Center over there on the campus of TSU, the real Big Blue.
Did you say Jordan Bone?
Jordan Bone's on staff there.
They play for Tennessee, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I remember that name. Okay. Yeah. So
yes, sir.
The basketball team to contend for a title. You just saying tread water in football, contend for a title in basketball for Tennessee State. That's what you're telling us.
Yeah, look, I trust one coach, don't trust the other coach. I trust one, I trust the other one. That's all I'm gonna say.
Now, JR, are you ready for all of the HBCU marching bands to each do their own version of They Not Like Us?
I am. Because they don't like us. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I want y'all to Google TSU, which kind of bands, greatest hits. Nothing can beat Tennessee State Tigers doing cameo to cut the side of your neck.
But believe it or not, my YouTube algorithm is set up. I get a lot of those. My stepson was in the marching band, so I'm watching all these marching band videos. I have seen some Tennessee State.
Hey, when they start playing neck, boy, I'll be floating, boy. I'll be floating, my brother. I sure do, man. Like, look, man. The HBC life is one of a kind, brothers. I tell you what, I'm glad I went there. I'm glad I had the experience. Some things were harder than others. I ain't gonna sit up and tell you it wasn't. But I enjoyed it, man. I really did. I know we lacked some things. We didn't have what Vanderbilt had, or Lipscomb had, or Tribeca had, or MTSU had, or what Austin P had. But it taught me a lot about being who I am today. It gave me that basis. And just for background, Vinny and TB, Penny has won 18 games 2 years in a row with Tennessee State, 10-8, no VC. So, like I said, he's building something there at Tennessee State. So he's a brother, I know, a good brother known for a long time. Shout out to him. I do wish that SWV Jr. wish he can coach better so he can win some games. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, brother.
Have you he's a bit older than all of us, but have you ever met Too Tall Jones, fellow Tennessee State alum?
Of course I have.
You met
Yes,
Tall?
I have it. I have it. The NFL Hall of Fame, Super Bowl, and at homecoming a few times.
Awesome. He was my first favorite Dallas Cowboy. I was just fascinated by a 6'9" dude on the football field. I mean, my dad was a Cowboys fan, but when I started watching, I was like, he's 6'9"? So, Too Tall is my first favorite Cowboy, and I figured y'all might have crossed paths when y'all, fellow TSU guys. So that's awesome, man.
Yes, we had to. Hey, look, TSU's had a lot of famous alums, believe it or not. For a small school in the hood,
Yeah.
a lot of famous alums. You know what, Video TV? I know some. Why a lot of ABC schools in the hood? I noticed that too. A lot of ABC schools in the hood. No, it just hits me. I don't mean the hood.
I do have to share. One of my cousins went to Tennessee State. He went from Memphis to Tennessee State way back when. So I got some Tennessee State affiliations.
Yes.
No doubt. And shout out to Lamar and Owen. I told somebody the other way, they said, would you want to go to university with Lamar and Owen? I want to be around my people in the hood. I want to go to Lamar and Owen. Go to Lamar and Owen. My people in the hood. I want to go there. I want not go to university. I want to go to Lamar and Owen in the hood. That's how I want to go to school.
Man, good stuff, man. You always bringing something good every time. Just, the knowledge and then whatever else we get into after you drop the NBA knowledge, man. And be coming in on vacation, taking time out of your off time just to hang out with us, man. We can't thank you enough. And then look forward to your good content when the season starts, and then all your great interviews in the off season, all the coaches you have on the show. Oh, man, just Bossman show, just doing your thing, man.
No doubt, Vinny. I go back to work September 30th. So I got about, I don't know, 80 days left of vacation. I will say this. This is me talking in code. The wrong guy was traded. I'll put it like that. The wrong guy was traded. Hint, hint.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer that individual to be where his other home is on TB's team. Hint, hint. So it could be TB's problem and not my problem.
Yeah.
Hint.
They thought about sending him out there with Lincoln and them. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, the man has no value right now for obvious reasons. But once again, back to our conversation, Vinny and TB, the apron.
Mm-hmm.
Because he might not be your third best player on the roster. And he paid him $43 million in this new environment apron. So like I said, the apron is everything right now, brothers. Everything you want to do with a roster, keep the aprons in mind and the apron rules in mind. That'll be my message to y'all listeners out here on BSP Network. Cat Talk Wednesday. The apron. Understand this. You take back less money, second apron you hard cap that. More money, the first apron. Everything is determined by which apron you're hard capped at. What you can do with your roster. Just remember that. And anything you want to do with a trade, the aprons.
Looking forward to watching it all play out, brother, man. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
No doubt. Good to talk to you, brothers, as always, man. Hold it down. We'll get in there. Remember, the apron will never set you free.
Words to live by.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, appreciate you, boss, man.
All right, brother. Y'all be safe, brothers.
All right. So y'all the boss man show. Little NBA Talk TV. Just a little look back, a little recap. We also got to look back at your Nathan's hot dog eating contest without Joey Chestnut.
Yeah.
And the lady you sent me said they had won it 10 times. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, she's pretty much won it just about every year since they separated it out.
And is she maybe I should know. Would she not get the pub she should? Or is she, that's
it. It's one of those things, like I was saying, it used to be just everybody for the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. And it's kind of unfair because you got like a regular sized man like Joey Chestnut and Sonia Thomas, the Black Widow, was not even 100 pounds. But she was, if you looked at it by like body weight, she was kind of killing it. So that's why they separated it out.
Interesting, man. So I know you watched it. How did you feel that it went? You know, first one without Joey, you knew he wasn't going to be there. Still excited? Still, you know, did it still kind of pop for you avid watchers, or was it like, this is, you know?
Well, yeah. So for me, it was who's gonna replace. I thought George Esper, because he's been second, third behind Chestnut for a long time. I thought that was my guy going in. But the person that won, the guy that won, Patrick, I want to make sure I get the name right, Bertoletti, won with 58 dogs.
58, okay.
Now Joey won with 62 last year because it went from 12 to 10 minutes a couple of years ago. Okay. It's what you wanted. You had two names, the GOAT, if you will, was gone. This was a perfect opportunity for someone to make a name for themselves. And even though I had to look up his name because I've been saying Bertoli, and I'm not sure where I'm getting that from, but Patrick Bertoletti.
Oh, you was close.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on.
A syllable or two up yesterday, you know.
Yeah, you know. It's been 10 minutes for a while. Well, not a while. Hold on. The last 12-minute competition. Oh, I am dating myself. 10 minutes? Hold on.
So I didn't know they even
12 minutes. Whoa. It changed in 2008. So let you know my relationship with time as it passes. I said a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's tough to watch that, man. I'm like, just give me the commentary. I know you probably didn't watch it. One of the I guess the play-by-play, Jeremy Schaap.
What? From
yeah, yeah, son of Dick Schaap.
Yeah.
Now, part of me was like, oh man, this might be a low point. But then I'm like, you can't judge this man. Maybe he put in his contract, I want to cover this. And he was covering it like it was a legitimate event.
Because he
was bringing this weight to it. And I'm like, we getting ready to watch people eat, whatever you think a hot dog is made out of. Like, we don't need to make it quite this heavy. It was great. I can't remember who the color guy was, but they played off each other. It was like a Saturday Night Live skit. Like,
okay.
Just a level of absurdity. But George Shea, the carnival barker kind of guy, he's got one of those, I don't know what you call that hat. I call it like the Music Man hat. And just the intros he gives everybody. One of the guys that jumped out at me, he's so bad he's in jail, in hell. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it's just so everything. This is why I love the hot dog contest.
He like the Michael Buffer for Nathan's.
Oh yeah, but
he's hype man.
He's got hype man for everybody that come down. And he'll tell you what bizarre food this person has eaten more of than anybody else. And it's great. I love it. I love Nathan's because it's all about America. We get the gluttony of watching people shove food down their face for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've taken that and made it this whole spectacle, that's America. A gluttonous spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
But will I watch it again next year? Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I'm not. It's not a hate watch. It's not a guilty pleasure. I'm very open with it.
Yeah.
We went to a 4th of July party. Ended up talking to this guy and his son about it. Like, look, it is not a guilty pleasure. This stuff is so bizarre. It's so American. It's great. Yes, it's great. I don't know what it is watching someone eat 58 hot dogs in 10 minutes. But hey, it is what it is.
And so it was 10 minutes this year, and was it 10 last year or 12?
It's been 10 minutes since 2008.
Okay.
I've been saying the last year it changed forever. That's how long I've been watching.
So
because the 12 minutes was just like, oh, this is a long time.
okay.
This is oh, I mean, because basically everybody starts off with a pretty high dog per minute rate. There's metrics for this. There's metrics for this stuff, right? But you get to 7 minutes and it stops being fun. Like, the first little bit, it's like, they're there doing all this stuff. And they're like, okay. But I mean, think about it. Think about when you go out to eat or when you eat your dinner or whatever. Like, don't you get tired of chewing? Like, isn't that a bad sign? You get something cooked and it's chewy because you just get tired of chewing. Like, I can imagine the chewing and the swallowing, like your body, like, what's going on? In my mind. So, and that's the thing is the winner got to 58 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
Okay.
But I can't imagine, like, looking around, you're in 4th or 5th place, and you're like, why am I doing this? I would just stop. Like, what am I doing this for? Like, I've got to 25, that guy's at 50. Like, I'm out. I'm not winning this.
I mean, you like the Pirates in most years when it's, July, they 38 games out and they still got to finish the season. Like,
this ain't gonna happen.
I'm 44 dogs behind. We still got 4 minutes left.
Like, those are the people I'm like, I would just stop. Like, it's clear this ain't your eating day. It's clear. But think about that. Again, we focus on the 58 hot dogs in 10 minutes. And as people are like, oh, that's a lot. Like, somebody ate 40 and finished in 5th place. And that sounds miserable because you don't get nothing for it. Like, I ate 40 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
So
and I just got to go back home.
And Joey had 62 last year and then 58. So the person that won this year, was it Bertoletti?
Bertoletti, yeah.
Was he in it last year?
Yeah, I didn't have the year by year. That's a name I've heard before, but I don't think he ever finished really close.
Because if 62 and then 50, I thought it'd be a big drop for whoever won it compared to what Joey normally would do. But if he had 58 and Joey 62, 58, that'd have been a pretty close competition. But
yeah, in 2015, the year that Matt Stoney won it from Joey, he got to 62. So at 12 minutes, we were seeing guys, especially in the 70s. Which again, I mean, think about that. Just when you go to the grocery store, or whatever, look at a pack of hot dogs. Look at everything that comes with that.
Mm-hmm. And then the bread and the water and the pressure and the rest.
But just think about that. Yeah. Just go look at a pack of buns. Like, it's a lot. Yeah, when you break it down and say it's burgers, it's buns and dogs. And then there's always some weirdo drinking like red Kool-Aid or something. And it just, but I watch it. I watch every minute of it.
The whole spectacle, man. Yeah.
Oh, it's just so ridiculous. I want to go. The wife's like, you go by yourself because that.
That's
I was like, because I want to get up close. I want to just,
Yeah, I have to pass on that too. We got to pass to our next guest, who is making his first appearance on our show. Everybody knows him. He's been crushing it with content for forever. Bats Cat Central now. Prior to that, 24/7 Sports, Rivals, baseball knowledge, just insane with it. Got ties to Corbin. And like I said earlier, if one Terry isn't enough, we got another one. So here comes our second Terry. We got Derek Terry joining us, man. DT, appreciate you hopping on with us, man. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you guys?
We appreciate you joining us.
Can't complain, man. Can't complain.
It's
The
good to
summer-
be here. I've not seen Terry. What, are you still out in Iowa?
I'm still out now. Well, yeah. That's when Vinny's like, this is his first time. I'm like, yeah, I saw him all the time, but it was when I was out there covering the games and everything. So yeah, it has been a while. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Happy to be on, talking a little ball with you guys. Just enjoying the summer. It's been a good summer.
You know, you came in backstage on what we was finishing up. So are you a Nathan's guy? Do you watch it? Do you care? Do you? Because I don't watch it. Terry is a fan, so you obviously could pick up on that. Where do you come out on the Nathan's 4th of July hot dog eating?
So I've not watched it in a long time. I watched it when I was younger because, as you guys, will know, it was like a dead time for sports. Like there was really nothing on 4th. I mean, some baseball would come on 4th of July, but like on ESPN, it would be on. So back before you had a bunch of options to watch things, like that was what I watched on the 4th of July. But I have not watched it. I mean, I knew there was some controversy this year with the guy who used to always win. He like couldn't.
Yeah, Joey Chestnut was not
Joey
allowed to
Chestnut couldn't
participate.
compete.
Yeah.
Couldn't compete this year. So I did know that story, but I didn't watch. Couldn't tell you who won, but I do like Nathan's hot dogs though. If I'm like at a ball game or something, I'll get it there. But
you leisurely eating them, not competitively. I like to leisurely eat a hot dog too.
Don't wolf it down. Life depended on it, but
right, Go ahead, TV.
No, I was just going to transition into this historic baseball season. Like, I know you've been covering the Cats specifically for a little bit now, but to capture lightning in a bottle with this season, what is your take on what we all kind of witnessed?
I mean, it's an incredible year. I mean, it goes without saying how incredible it was. I mean, I think those kinds of seasons, I think, are always maybe the most fun whenever, you have a pretty good team, but it exceeds all expectations. That was not a preseason top 25 team. I thought it probably deserved some attention as a potential top 25 team. I think picked, 5th or 6th maybe in the SEC East. So outperformed all expectations. Really had a season that I think you'll probably look up, and you hope for better always, but with how much they accomplished this past season to set the school record for wins overall, SEC wins, with 22, with Texas and OU coming into the league and just how good the league already is, I wouldn't be surprised if we look up 20 years and they've not had a season better than what they just had here. So in that regard, I think it's going to be, the season we all remember for a long time. And the bar has been raised a little bit. It's going to be harder to kind of clear it moving forward. I think they can still get back to Omaha, certainly. I think they'll have teams that are going to be good enough to get to regionals. But in terms of the high points that were hit to host the first super regional, get to Omaha for the first time, and have all those wins as well, this will be, a season I don't think people who followed it will ever forget.
And Kentucky baseball made it to the College World Series before Tennessee basketball made it to a Final Four. Let's just let that marinate.
Let's bring that up. Absolutely, you're right. You're right.
Come on, Derek. I mean, just let that wash over us, as John Anderson on SportsCenter said, because sure Tennessee won it, but I'm just saying what I just said was very factual. Were you in Omaha? Did you make the trip out there?
No, I didn't. I would have loved to have gone. I started the newsletter back, I guess it was right before the Oregon State series. So I'd created it originally back in January of 2023 and did that for probably 4 months or so. Did some stuff with KSR last summer and went back to my newsletter in a subscription model this year. I thought I could maybe do a little bit better job through that. So I wasn't credentialed for any games. I went to the Oregon State both games, and but no, did not make it out to Omaha. Would have loved to have been there. I mean, that was I can remember telling some people a few years ago. I wouldn't quite call it like a bucket list thing. Like there are other things within sports I would choose probably over like seeing Kentucky and Omaha, but it was one of those things. It's like, man, it'd be really cool to see that happen. They're the only SEC team prior to this year that had never, they'd never been. So to check that off was cool. And yeah, I would have liked to have gone, but maybe the next time I'll be able to get out there.
And you follow it closer than anybody. as and a lot of fans stay in tune or connected because of the content that you put out. So is it the same for you as for the fans? For me, with Kentucky's season going longer than it ever had, it's like as soon as the season ended, it was, boom, portal, this, that, the other. And it was like, all the other teams that weren't playing were already doing this, and Kentucky was kind of having to jump in and try to swim and catch up. Was it like that for you? Because we were just so caught up in watching the run to the World Series that, whoa, now this portal stuff just kind of blindsided everybody. Was that the case for you, or am I just kind of making?
Well, so for me, this is actually my favorite time of year. I actually love the roster building. It's not, I like watching the games too, but like, as someone who writes about it, this is what I find to be the most fun to follow, to see how the team shapes up. With the MLB draft coming up on Sunday, it starts Sunday, runs for 3 days, see who gets taken, who's actually going to be here, who's not, and following the recruiting. Like the high school recruiting is I don't know if I want to call it undercovered. I mean, I think it is, but I don't know that anywhere there's a really strong demand for like high school baseball recruiting coverage. Just the sport's so different. It's not like 24/7 or on 3 that exists. And everybody is very well known. I mean, baseball, a lot of the rankings are behind paywalls. So kind of the idea I had is, to maybe bring a little bit more attention. Like on my website, I have the full commitment list with scouting reports for all the guys, just so you know, like a little bit about them. I'm not saying it's the most detailed thing, but I wanted to have little blurbs of everybody. So I was ready to go back to your question. I was like, wanted to see how far they could make it. But once the season actually ended, for me, that's what I felt like the value for what I could provide really kicked up a notch. So I think they already had, I want to say, I can pull up the commitment list here. By the time the season had actually ended, I want to say they had around 6 or 7 commitments already. So a lot of work for the coaches to already be in that spot where your season's still going, you're still trying to game plan and try to win baseball games, but also like you got to be looking forward to next year and having a team, especially on a team like this for Kentucky that is going to lose a lot. I mean, basically everybody. I mean, James McCoy will probably be back, and then I think Devin Burks is like a maybe. I think he'll probably look to sign if he can, and then everybody else is gone. Like no one else. McCarthy went portal. Wall Schmidt, Petrie, they're going to get drafted. Lopez, Daly, Nicholson, Smith, all seniors, and then the whole weekend staff's going to be gone. So when you had all those needs to address, I mean, it was definitely a busy time and has remained a busy time as well, especially with the coach down, with Nick Emirati going to Georgia. They've got some other people maybe behind the scenes having to pick up the slack a little bit more than what they would have otherwise. But, I do think there's a pretty strong emphasis to try to make sure that wasn't a one-hit wonder. And I'm not saying they're going to get back to Omaha, right away next year, but the idea here is that you're not going to have these, valleys like they used to, where it's 3 or 4 years before you get back. So portal allows you, if you do it well, to honestly to compete every year if you do it well, and they have for the most part.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Nick Emirati and Nolan McCarthy. I think overreaction can kind of go both ways when you see departures. You might have the, oh my God, oh, this is devastating, and this is, or the kind of rationalizing, we can replace it, and it's not that bad, and maybe somewhere in the middle. So from your perspective, from those departures, because those I think are probably the biggest names or maybe the most unexpected surprises, is it a big blow? Did Coach Min see it coming? Is it stuff under the surface? Is it drama? Is this just part of the whole world we're living in? Tell fans and listeners how to process those big departures.
I think with Emirati, the third assistant spot, for people who didn't know, the role that he used to be in, or the role that he was in, used to be a volunteer spot, which they still made money, but it was through camps that the school would host, things like that. It wasn't like a salaried position through the university. And last year, the NCAA approved that last summer, July 1st, I think, of 2023. They approved it to where they could be on benefits. And from what I've seen, schools have done it differently. So like Nick Emirati's salary was $40,000, which in the context of college sports, like it's pretty low, right? I mean, like coaches that make, a lot of obscene amounts of money in some cases to coach college sports. He was still making money through camps, but he was probably on the lower end of SEC assistants. If I had to guess, I would say he was probably, all things considered, around six figures. We only know the public record, which is 40,000, but I'm guessing his estimates was probably around 100 when all said and done. So I've not seen his Georgia contract. From what I heard, I expect that he probably doubled his salary pretty easily going there. So I do think that was one aspect to it. For him, he was the number 3 assistant here. He'll have a chance to be the number 2 assistant at Georgia. He'll be back with Will Coggin, who used to be at Kentucky as well. And Georgia they are a program I think a lot of people felt like should have been better over the years. They hadn't been to a super regional since 2008 prior to this year. And that's an area similar to, maybe not quite as extreme in football. They produce so much talent in the state of Georgia. Baseball it's better than a lot of other states in the SEC. There's a good recruiting ground there that they can recruit from. So they've done very well in the portal as well. On paper, we'll see how the draft affects them. But I think it was a chance to advance in his career. I think you could consider it a promotion. Now, with that said, I'm not sure he will be the hitting coach there. He was here. So he's making the decision to leave and kind of tag team it again with Will Coggin. So Nolan leaving, I think those two are close, and I think that probably played a role. If you look at this from Nolan's standpoint, and I think from what I could see on social media, I think people are a little bit more upset than maybe I was expecting to see. He was a hero of the postseason. The scoring, the game scoring run that he had against Oregon State, I think will live in Kentucky baseball history forever. His home run against NC State, the College World Series. Big plays. If he came back, I think he probably would have been a 3, 4, 5 hitter, somewhere in the middle of the order, started every day. So from a talent standpoint, I think it was a loss for sure. He's a good player here, could have been a veteran, but if you put yourself in his shoes, he was able to go to the portal. I heard he had immediate interest. Georgia was a school to watch, obviously, with his connections. I heard Florida was in there, other SEC schools as well. So this will be a coveted player. I don't believe he's committed anywhere yet, but he will be someone who I think winds up in a pretty good spot. So a lot of the people he came in, they're gone. I mean, he was a 2020 recruit, redshirted his first year. He was going to be in his 5th year with the program. There aren't many of those guys left. And so I think a loss for Kentucky. He was a good player. I mean, I think he hit 280, 290, played every day. Good locker room guy. It's a loss. I wouldn't try to say it wasn't. But with that said, I mean, you can go find other guys, and this assistant hire will be, I think, a big hire for UK. I don't think this assistant hire at this point in time is going to really affect the roster, though, in terms of building the roster. They're going to be getting in here late. To my understanding, they're still I don't think they're immediately going to hire somebody. I thought it would probably be this week that they locked in on somebody. To my knowledge, I don't think that's happened yet. So I'll keep trying to find out, but to this point, I don't think they're right on somebody. But I will say this too. Try not to ramble here with you guys, but if you're really in the weeds with UK baseball, I think this is a bit of a fascinating hire because I mentioned the money aspect. How much more is Kentucky willing to pay for this position to keep it to where you don't lose guys to? I don't know that I would say it was necessarily a lateral move for Ammirati to go to Georgia, but if you do go from the hitting coach at one school to being an assistant hitting coach, but making a lot more money, there's pros and cons there, I think. So how do you get this position where you're not losing someone else to another SEC school? It's 2 straight years. 2 straight years they lost somebody to Georgia. And Georgia's not LSU. They're not Florida, Tennessee, in baseball. They're a good program, but if you were to tier all the programs right now, I don't think they're any higher than Kentucky. They're probably, UK's had better seasons the last few years. But, how much money are they willing to invest in this spot? And with that, who are they going to be able to pull? So I don't know if this will be a route where they go to a mid-major school and give someone a promotion from there. I do think the focus, though, will be on kind of a hitting coach aspect, someone who has run offenses in the past who will be able to help develop the hitters, because Austin Kuzno, I think, has elevated the recruiting since he's been here. Nick Mingione, it's one of the best things he does. If they get guys on campus, he's very good at getting commitments, getting guys to close. So I think they have a couple of really good recruiters there, and this position will need to be able to recruit a little bit just because everybody needs to be able to, but it won't probably be their deal. You can you can sacrifice recruiting a little bit if this person is someone who's going to be able to develop the offense and keep them among the best in the SEC.
So that's appreciate that. Just that perspective of where it actually is. Like you said, a lot of people were upset, and he just he is a hero, and now he's leaving, and just that whole shock of it all. But yeah, I appreciate you breaking that all down. As far as like you said, men just played I think a lot of coaches at Kentucky have played the portal really well. I mean, we see it in football with a lot of guys hitting and making impacts. Is it still kind of the same philosophy? He wants to, style of play is not small ball. He bristles at that, but the everything, the aggressive, the attacking, the bunting, not just live and die by the 3-run home run. He's still the same, looking for guys to kind of fit to play the same style. That's kind of what he's leaned into that now going forward, right?
I think so, and I think their home ballpark is a big part of it. It's one of the bigger parks in the league. I think they feel that it's a little harder to generate power at Kentucky Pride Park, and that you got to be able to score runs in different ways. SEC teams are good, and defensively, I think a few years ago you saw that it got a little bit harder because, like, you're right, like he might bristle at it being small ball. I don't think it was small ball last year. I think it was small ball in 23. Like, I think they were all the way in on bunting all the time, stealing bases. Last year they had probably a little bit more pop. Ryan Nicholson tied the school record for home runs in a season. You had guys like McCarthy, Waldschmidt, some others who were capable of hitting home runs. So this team as of today, I mean, it's hard to say before the draft happens because they're probably going to lose some guys to the draft. I think what he'll look for will be similar. Like if the ballpark, like Tennessee plays in a tiny stadium, like a lot of home runs get hit there. Georgia's the same way. Ball flies out of there. It's not like that here. Weather's really bad too. Early in the year, it's colder. It's, the ball's not going to be flying out as much. So I do think they're going to have an emphasis still on being able to produce runs in different ways. But I don't think he's totally just, you have to do this. Like it has to be a certain way. I think they will continue to kind of play to the strengths of the guys that they recruit. And I think that'll be something else to follow too after this Omaha run. Like it might not show up immediately on the recruiting trail, but like 2-3 years from now, these kids that are in middle school right now that just watch the College World Series and know nothing about how Kentucky has been historically, like they might think Kentucky is like the it school. So how does that affect recruiting going forward? Do you get some more high upside guys, a higher caliber recruit to come in here? And then how will that change on the field, how they play? So in the immediate future, I could still see it being kind of that way. Because if I had to guess right now, I think probably 6 or 7 of the starters next year will probably be from the portal. If I had to guess, I mean, it might be fewer than that if some guys internally are able to develop a little bit more. But I think it'll be kind of what we've seen the last few years. This team last year was a pretty good mix. I think it was probably Nicholson, Lopez, and those were the 2 new guys, Daly as well, Mitch Daly. And then Grant Smith was from the portal, but he had been here. Waldschmidt had been here, and also another portal guy. So McCarthy, McCoy, Petrie, Berks, all homegrown guys. So it was a pretty good mix this past year. I think if they could keep it around that, they'd be pretty happy with it. But you never know. I mean, maybe some years you're going to have more guys that are going to develop, and then other years maybe you'll have to lean into it more like they are this year. So I do think they have this freshman class this past year. I went out there some in the fall last year. I thought they had a pretty good group. I think some of the guys they lost to the portal, like Lucas Schramm and Austin Foley. Like Austin Foley just committed to Ole Miss. He didn't really play here, but he's ended up at an SEC school. So I think they had some guys that were capable of being good players that have chosen to go elsewhere. And that's kind of how it is. I mean, the portal gives and it takes. So, but the young guys that they redshirted this past year or will be sophomores that just didn't play very much. I think some of those guys like Kai Scargett, Ethan Hindle, Eli Small, maybe Hudson Brown, maybe are guys that could all maybe have a role next season. And then, that's what the fall will be for. I think this team will have a lot of competition. So it would be hard to say as of today who I think will ultimately be out there. But it'll definitely look different. But I still think that this team will have a decent chance to get back to a regional as of now. So ask me again on Tuesday once the draft's over.
Right. Exactly. Tell everybody about Batcat Central, what they get when they subscribe, the different tiers and subscriptions, and just plug it however you want to plug it, man.
Well, I think I know there's a segment of people out there who aren't interested in paying for any kind of news, not just something like this. But if you're someone who is open to it, I think there's a track record there that you can get information first that maybe you won't find at other places. Recruiting, I had a story just the other day that basically teased that Matthew Watson, who was a starting pitcher from Texas A&M Corpus Christi, that they were in a good spot for him, and also Simon Gregerson, and Simon committed right before we got on here. So both those guys are Cats now. So, just the stories that are behind a paywall, I mean, I always make them to where there's going to be some kind of value because my goal, for people who don't know, I don't know who else listen to this. Like, I'm not a full-time sports writer anymore. I do this, in my free time. So I tried to price it in a way that was not going to price people out. If they were interested, it's $5 a month or $40 for a whole year. So it's like $333, I think, if you just wanted to sub annually. And through there, I think you'll find a lot of roster moves, hoping to have some stuff on the coaching search soon. I always do a big draft story that I've been working on. So I think the value is there if you're someone who's interested in the baseball program. And I do have free stories as well. A lot of the commitment stuff is free. It's just hard to have subscription value on that whenever it's already out there and other people can write stories as well. It's always my goal is to write something a little bit different, and you can't really charge people and then just write the same stuff as everybody else that do it for free already. So I've got to try to come up with some angles for some other things. Right. But yeah, it's been good. I've really enjoyed doing it. And if you're someone who's just interested in Kentucky baseball, like I said, you can always sign up for free. I'll try to do one free story a week, sometimes more. So there's still stuff there for everybody. But if you're someone who's interested in kind of learning about the program at a little bit deeper level, I think it's worth subscribing.
It's always good stuff, man. It's always good stuff. And got to switch from Kentucky baseball to your Reds. You and Jeff Drummond are probably the biggest Reds fans that we've ever had on here. So where you at on them as we get close to the All-Star break? Your thoughts
like they're playing right now. Well, I know the fall into baseball season can be tough. I know people that, I think we're in game 90. We're in the 90s right now. I can't remember which game exactly. And I had a lot of high hopes for the season, but they've been so injured. They've had some guys regress a little bit. But Ellie is awesome to watch every night. I feel lucky to get to watch him play every night. I'm not telling you guys, people that I've never talked to about baseball in my life, like at family cookouts, like talking about Ellie De La Cruz. His appeal is incredible through there. But Hunter Green's had a great year. He's an all-star as well. So I told my wife probably a month or two ago, like, they're just too injured. Like, the expectations that we had for the team, it's not the same team that we thought would be out there at the beginning of the year. So there's no sense getting frustrated with it too much, maybe in the moment, but you let it go. And my long-term outlook is still really good. I think they've set up pretty well. Wouldn't say I've given up on the season. It's going to be tough, I think, for them to get back in it with this current group. So I'm looking forward to the deadline, though. I'm curious to see what moves they make, if any. I think they got a few guys that are rentals that they can trade off. And then the draft on Sunday, they get the number 2 pick. Got kind of lucky because their odds, they had a winning record last year and ended up getting the number 2 pick, which kind of made up for the year before when they lost 100 games and had to pick 7th. So missed out on some guys that they could have had. Like, Wyatt Langford for the Rangers is already in the big leagues. Paul Skeens is an all-star already. So the top of last year's draft was really good, and they didn't quite get to pick up there, but maybe they'll make up for it this year and get someone who can be up here pretty quick. So still excited about the overall outlook, but it's been worse than expected. But, what can you do with the injuries? Marte got suspended for half the year for PEDs. He's back now, but with him out, McClain out, TJ Friedel's been out like the whole year. It's just it's not the same group as last year. That was really fun to watch, but I think next year's the year, and if it's not, then I'll say it again for the next year. So.
That's like me being a Braves fan. They're still in a decent.
I don't want to hear it. I
don't
want to hear it.
In a decent spot. Took 2 out of 3 from Phillies, but I was, not nowhere near as injured as the Reds. But I kind of stepped back a little bit. I'm like, you lost your best one of your best offensive players in Acuna, and one of your best pitchers in Strider. Both sides of those are big blows. they've recovered and are still in position. So I'm not trying to rub it in, but I'm just saying from an injury standpoint, that'll make you reevaluate your perception. And those were two big blows. Are you an NFL guy? Are you a Bengals fan or?
Yes, but I mean, I'm not going to try to. I hopped on the Burrow bandwagon when he got drafted. I did not grow up a Bengals fan. Matter of fact, my dad is a Steelers fan, and I know they're big rivals. But I liked the Steelers when I was a kid because he did, and they were good. Like the Steelers were really good when I was a kid. They were winning Super Bowls. I think they won 2 when I was a kid. But yeah, I'm on with the Bengals now. But more of a like. It doesn't ruin my day though or anything if they lose. You know what I mean? Like I like following them. They're the local team. I don't have like Sunday ticket or anything. I do have Red Zone, but I don't have like Sunday ticket where I can watch any game. So the Bengals are always on local TV. I've started watching them in college. So like I will say, I said I'll hop on the Burrow bandwagon, and it's true that I started liking them more than I did watch every game of I think they went 2-14, I want to say, the year before they drafted Burrow. Ryan Finley was quarterback. It was awful. But I watched every game that year. Yeah. I know Terry's a 49ers guy. Who do you like?
Oh yeah, I'm a 49ers guy.
Yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan. So we don't agree on anything except Kentucky. We disagree on everything else. Oh boy, see what we've incited here. This is what I deal with, Derek. Look at there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's little Jerry on my shoulder, but yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I am excited for the Bengals. It feels like this is kind of their last go around. They got T. Higgins like still here for one more year. They're kind of going all in. Hopefully they can do something. But I don't know. Terry, you think the Niners have missed their chance? You think last year they're still good? I know they're still good, but they had a chance last year.
Yeah, that's been my concern. And Vinny will tell you, like, the window in the NFL, especially, doesn't stay open forever. And my whole thing is, I looked at one of those little, stuff you come across on Twitter or whatever. Like the 49ers have the second most playoff wins the last 5 seasons, but everybody else on that list won the Super Bowl. And it's like, it's like we keep knocking. And like I told Vinny, like, I'm not worried about any NFC team because we've kind of handled them the last couple of years, but we can't beat the AFC. Lost to the Bengals last year, lost to the Browns, lost to Baltimore in an embarrassing fashion on Christmas, and then losing to the Chiefs. Like, I don't know, because it's not built to stay open forever, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the best game the Bengals played last year too. Was in San Francisco. That was was the best game before Burrow went down. So if they can keep him healthy, I'm excited for it. But I don't know, Vinny. I never really hated the Cowboys. It seems like a lot of people do. There's really no NFL teams that I hate. I mean, even with the Chiefs, like I know there's a rivalry there with the Bengals now. It's one of those rivalries that form because they're trying to both get to the Super Bowl, and obviously, like, Chiefs are great. They've won several already with Mahomes, but I don't know. I'm not that big of a hater, I guess, even of the Chiefs. But I think it is time for somebody else though to step in there and get it.
Try to push them out.
Who hates the Cowboys? Who over the age of 35 hates the Cowboys?
Stephen A hates them, right?
You usually hate the teams because they put your team out of the playoffs. Now they ain't put nobody out of the playoffs since like I said.
Oh man, well, yeah, and I can't even refute any of that, man. Honestly, that's the sad part. I can't come back to that because it's true. The 2 losses to the 49ers and this just baffling, mind-blowing fashion, the way they end of game meltdowns. And I mean, so I can't even argue what Terry's saying. But D, man, I gotta ask you this too before we let you go. Terry, you and I've seen Derek. He's always seems like this laid back, chill, even keeled, just mellow dude. So what gets you worked up the most? Is it watching your Reds? Is it watching Kentucky basketball, Kentucky football, Kentucky baseball? What gets Derek Terry fired up or a little irritated or a little not as chill as we've always seen? What roused you up, man?
I mean, it was Calipari there for a little while, probably. Cal. Reds, not really. Just there's so many games. Like there are nights where it gets frustrating, but it's never like or tough losses, but it's never like Kentucky football. It's probably Kentucky basketball, just because the standard. You guys know how it is. The standard's so high, and it's something Kentucky should be. I don't care if people think it's rational. They should be one of the best teams. And I'm not saying every single year, but the way it had gotten here these last few years, I thought last year's team was incredibly entertaining. I thought the kids were great. You had so many good angles. I thought last year with Antonio ended up having a great season. I mean, he was someone I was a little critical of early on, just in big games in particular, but he steadily got better at Kentucky. Had a great senior year. Got drafted. I mean, Reed Shepherd, obviously, as a 606 guy. Like, I love that. I love that for Reed, that he had a great season. I cannot believe he got drafted number 3 overall. Just could not believe a kid from North Laurel got drafted that high. And then, of course, with Rob. I mean, Rob was up there, I think, with Malik Monk as one of the most exciting players that they'd had at Kentucky under Cal. And I was appreciative. I still am. Like, I probably Cal still had a lot of strong supporters. Anytime I ever made a tweet that was critical of Cal, it had a lot of pushback. A lot of people still liked him. But I thought by the end it was definitely time. I'm happy that situation was resolved by him living on his own. You guys see what's going on with Rick Pitino right now. Like, people love him again. He's distanced from Louisville now. He showed his support for Mark Pope, and all of a sudden, like, people love Pitino again. It will be that way with Cal when he's on. People will welcome him back. He will come back. It will be celebrated. He should be celebrated for winning a national title, going to 4 Final Fours.
Yeah, but that tends to be the cycle of UK coaches, right? Like, you got to get out before the posse gets you, and sometimes it gets you. But enough time passed. I'm old enough to remember when Joe B was shown the door, and that wasn't great, but he's welcome back, right? I think there was some love for Eddie Sutton, even though all that stuff, and now Pitino is back, and Tubby.
Everybody but Billy G, right?
Yeah, everybody but Billy G. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, that would be the one exception to the rule of beloved coach. But you got to win something, right? That's how you get welcome back.
That's it.
Yeah,
man.
So,
Derek, man, just enjoyed having you on here. Should have had you on here a long time ago. Definitely love to get you back on again. But everything in Bats Cat Central, everybody subscribe, get the newsletter, get in depth.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I made it to Omaha. I was there that Saturday.
I saw your pictures over there on Facebook. I saw it.
It was ridiculous. But anyway.
But yeah, man, just keep it up. We enjoy it all. And thanks for taking time out of your evening to drop some knowledge on here with us tonight, Derek, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. And I know I write about baseball. If you ever need someone on here to talk any other UK stuff, I watch it just as much. I don't cover it, but I might think about it even more now than I did then, just on my free time. So always happy to talk. So, all right. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much, Derek. Sure. Appreciate you. Derek Terry, batcatcentral.com. And he's on the pulse of UK baseball, man, for real. And we'll get him back.
Absolutely.
We'll get him back for some football and basketball too. Our next guest is backstage as well. And like I said, we had her dad on back in the past, had Lewis Morris on. I was taught in school by her grandfather and her great uncle. She doesn't know me, but anyway, she's semi kind of Harlan County-ish, but she's 606s for sure. Talking about Maci Morris, played basketball for the Kentucky women's team and is kind enough to hop on this podcast with two dudes she doesn't know, TV. Maci, how are you? And thank you for hopping on.
Hey, I'm good. Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate it. Like I was telling you when we DM back and forth, man, we had your dad on and talked coaching and talked about him at Cumberland with Freddie and Paul Gaffney and everybody. And of course, Vic and Roger and everything they did for baseball in Cumberland. So, and you're just another legendary Morris just like them. So appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Had a lot of people I got to look up to. Sorry, my dog is going crazy right now.
Terry got a crazy dog too, right?
Yeah, but he's asleep, I think.
And but yeah, I had a lot of people to look up to and taught me a lot about sports. So it was fun growing up around people like them.
Absolutely. So what's been going on since your playing days at after UK? What have you been into? What have you been doing, or as far as that goes?
Yeah, so after UK, I went overseas and played in Italy for a year, and then COVID happened, unfortunately, and then I kind of like changed. I decided a new chapter in my life I was ready for, and so I went down to the University of Cumberland, and started PA school. Graduated last summer, and I've been almost working at St. Joe London ER for almost 1 year now.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, was the transition as smooth as you thought, or just unexpected, or how did the transition go for you?
It was a lot of thinking and praying about if I wanted to give up basketball already. But I felt like it was due to just like some different health things with like my knees and stuff, and I just felt like it was a good time to transition into something new. Um, which was not easy going back to school after being out for about 2 years, I guess. And learning the new habits of studying was not fun.
Yeah, you had to
Absolutely.
rebuckle down and rediscipline yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, pretty much. It was hard.
Well, glad you got through it and it's paying off now. And St. Joe's London's got themselves a good one, no doubt, for sure. So, have you? What are your thoughts on all the changes? No doubt you still keep an eye on Kentucky women's basketball, and we saw the coaching change. And Kenny Brooks is there now. What do you think about everything you've been seeing and hearing and checking out with the way it's shaping up for this upcoming season?
I'm excited. I think Coach Brooks he's bringing a lot of excitement. He's gotten some great players, and so I'm excited for the season. I think he's going to do great, and I think he's going to be able to really bring in some great recruits in the future. Just because Memorial's getting remodeled, that was a big thing for a lot of people when they came on visits. It's just like Memorial was kind of old to them. If you're not a Kentucky fan, you don't really respect the history coming out of state. So that was a big thing for recruits, and so getting that remodel is going to be huge and help getting some recruits. And I think Coach Brooks is a great coach, and like I said, I'm excited for the season. I think they'll go really far.
Absolutely. TB, did I cut you off, man?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. It's like, what do you think about like just the size alone from the young ladies that he's brought in? 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", a lot of post players, a lot of height. So it'll look different from a lot of Kentucky teams that we've seen in the past from that standpoint alone, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of us we begged to get some size in there because a lot of times we'd have like 3 guards or even 4 guards having to play down low, and in the SEC that is not easy. So
Yeah.
I'm glad he can get some size in there. That's going to help him out tremendously.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I wondered how you all would feel. I mean, there's a lot of fans that would be like, man, we need a few more post players, and you personally having to go down there and try to bang, like you said, 4 guards. So yeah,
that wasn't fun. And I didn't have to do it that often, but when I did, I was like, it'd be nice to have somebody about their size down here.
That's it. And I think before you, I think Victoria Dunlap was before you got there. And I remember she was like 6'1", and she would be the undersized big for some of those teams before you, in the post. And now for them to have, multiple, 6'5", 6'6", it's going to be a new look and different. And I'm sure, Cassidy Rowe and the other 606 and the rest of the guards are like you, happy to see that length inside.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure they are.
Did you have, like, looking back, a welcome to the SEC moment per se, or wow, I'm really I'm really here now playing against such and such, or this is what it's like in this league? Anything like that stand out?
I don't. I guess it was more just like overall, it's just like how quick the players were, and I mean going against like South Carolina with like Asia Wilson, and I tell people this all the time. She's like one of the best players I've ever played against. Um, just seeing girls of that size and being able to play and like how versatile they were, it was just like kind of an awe moment. But I was never had like I don't think there was a situation where I was like, oh my God, this is a lot. I felt like I mean, I think my dad prepared me really well to, go into that and playing AAU. I played against a lot of those girls, and so it wasn't like it was that new to me. But like I said, my dad prepared me. He always was like, no matter where you go, where you play, he said, you always think you're the best on the floor. You might not be, but you got to have that mentality that you are.
Yeah, and no back down at all, right? Just
Yep.
no matter what. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. You were on the team when they beat. Did you beat South Carolina at home? Was that? Were you on the team that got them one time in Memorial?
We beat South Carolina my senior year at South Carolina, and then we beat Mississippi State at home.
Okay.
When they were ranked really high, my sophomore year. Well, we beat them at Mississippi State my freshman year, but then we beat them at home my sophomore year on like a last second shot. Michaela Epps hit it.
Yeah. So see, the two of y'all were, you and her from Kentucky. Do you still talk to any of the players now? Like you said, you got Cassidy and a lot of younger players still in state that are there because Maddie just transferred out, but there's still a good little core of in-state girls there. Have you gotten to talk to them or keep in touch with them at all or know them a little bit?
Me and Epps, we check in on each other every once in a while, and we'll see each other at like games. And then obviously Blair Green. I mean, she's one.
Yeah.
I'm about to be I'm the maid of honor in her wedding here in a couple weeks, so I talk to her all the time. Yeah, and then like Taylor Murray. I mean, she's not a Kentucky in-state girl, but I mean, she's one of my best friends, so I keep in touch with her. And there's Mackenzie Can. She's an in-state girl. I talk to her pretty frequently as well. So there's a few that I keep in touch with.
Yeah. So good stuff. And like you said, just Memorial itself, like you said, we maybe take it for granted or just know that, like you said, history. We respect this place because, I mean, Adolph Rupp coached there and Dan Issel played there and all these great players played there. But to look at it from an out-of-state recruit's eyes, I like how you said that. They wouldn't know that, and they would just look at the building for the building, and they don't know what we know. So the fact that renovation, it's going to help recruiting on down the road now when they come in and see the new Memorial, right?
Oh, for sure. Even the seats. I mean, so many people complain about how hard the seats were on their backs and their butts. So just getting some new seats in there, that will help with fans too. So I'm excited for it. I've seen some like the, I guess, future visionaries or whatever they're called of it, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah. Looking forward to getting up there for some games, and like it's just excitement all around. Just from what Coach Brooks has come in and the players he's gotten in a short amount of time, and then you get a new building and just all of that just kind of combining together, and just can't wait for the season to get here. Sure can. Well, I appreciate you taking time to hop on. Like I said, didn't know me, didn't have an idea like who's this reaching out to be on this podcast, but I appreciate you taking the time on a night off from work. Love to get you on maybe again, once the season starts, you get some thoughts on what you actually see from the girls on the court. If it works out for you on another Wednesday, we'd love to have you on and talk some more ball and talk about the Cats.
Yeah, for sure. I would love that. I love talking basketball. I love talking any type of sport. So just reach back out to me and let me know.
Okay, I appreciate it, Macy, and tell the family hey too.
I will.
Your dad would know, Melvin Hardy's son, and he would know. Okay, so when you tell him you're on. That's whose podcast you're on.
I'll let him know.
Appreciate you, and glad the transition went smooth for you. Hope every night in the ER is as smooth as possible for an ER. My sister's
Thank
an
you.
RN, and she knows about that life as well. So it can be some crazy situations.
For sure, yeah.
Well, I hope it's as smooth as possible for you, and thanks again for joining us, Macy. We
All right, thank
appreciate
you
it.
for having me. I appreciate it.
All right.
Bye.
It was a fun show, everybody. Maci Morris, Derek Terry, JR the Boss Man. I think TB's internet just glitched out a little bit. He wasn't able to hop back on, but hope y'all enjoyed it. We got the NBA talk with JR. We got UK baseball talk with Derek Terry. Kentucky women's basketball with Maci Morris. We do this every single week. We'll have this episode up on Spotify and Spreaker and wherever you listen. You can watch it here, where we streamed it on Cats Talk Wednesday on Twitter and Facebook, and my personal YouTube page at Vinny Hardy. Subscribe to all that and come back next week. It'll be SEC Media Days. Kentucky will go down to Dallas. I think they're Thursday, so we'll be there. We'll be talking about, the other teams that have been talking. Stoops and them wouldn't have spoken yet, but it's still another week closer to college football talking season. Get our predictions. Give us your predictions on how you think the Cats will do football-wise. Got Dr. John Wong penciled in to join us next week, talk about his book, talk some football and UK sports with him as well. But we enjoy doing this every week. Hope y'all enjoy it as well. Tell your friends about it. Retweet. Michelle, thanks for commenting. Bush Hamden, offensive coordinator parody account on Twitter. Appreciate the comment as well. Gonna hop on off of here for now, but we'll see everybody next week here on Cats Talk Wednesday, brought to you by the BS3 Network. Everybody stay safe. We'll holler at y'all next week.